This true crime case is about a woman who vanished after a Tinder date, and her remains were found in multiple garbage bags along a state highway weeks later. This case is just as bizarre as it is tragic, with sex cult, witches, and murder. This is the story of Sydney Loof. Sydney lives in Lincoln, which is the capital city of Nebraska, and works as a cashier at a local home improvement shop called Menards. She is an average girl who loves animals, has a vibrant personality, and often surprises friends with her compassion for others. Sydney can be shy at first, but when she opens up, her energy illuminates the room. As many girls, she uses Tinder to meet people as friends and look for possible relationships. She matches with a girl named Bailey Boswell, alias Aubrey, on the dating app, and they start exchanging messages. It starts with introductions, then they talk about arranging a date and what they like to eat. They share more than 140 messages, and 2 days after both of them swiped right, they set up their first date. Bailey picks up Sydney the next day just before 6 p.m. to drive around Lincoln and smoke weed. She takes Sydney back home a couple hours later, and they make plans for a second date. After Sydney arrives home, she sends a text to her friend about how great the date went and how excited she is to go on another date with Bailey. Cindy and Bailey are sending messages back and forth on the next morning. She goes to work her shift at Menards just before noon, and the two have plans to meet right after her shift. Sydney sends her friend a Snapchat about being excited for her upcoming date. She just have to get through her shift, and then it would be date night. Bailey messages Sydney when she arrives and picks her up shortly before 7 p.m. Sydney's mother sees her Snapchat and texts her to ask about her date, but there is no answer. She isn't concerned about it right away. She isn't alarmed until the next evening, when Sydney's sister begins receiving messages from her friends, saying no one heard from her, and she hasn't shown up for work at Menards. Sydney is a reliable person, and missing a shift without calling ahead or giving a reason is totally out of character for her. Her mother tries to reach her, she texting and calling Sydney, but can't get a hold of her. Her phone goes straight to voicemail, which is a huge red flag for everyone involved. Sydney's mother is extremely worried and requests Lincoln police to do a welfare check. Sydney's vehicle is in the driveway when officers go to her apartment, and all of her apartment lights are on, but her door is locked. They are knocking and ringing the doorbell, but when neither is successful, officers enter her apartment through an unlocked window. They search for her, but she isn't there. Since Sydney is an adult and police don't find any indications that she might be in danger, they start to investigate the situation, but don't consider it an urgent matter. As they leave, police turn off the lights so patrolling officers can easily check to see if someone had returned. After talking with her mother, officers learn that Sydney was on a Tinder date, and that was the last time she was supposedly seen. Police initiate a ping of Sydney's phone, but Verizon indicates that her phone has not received or sent any information for about 24 hours, and it was last pinged in Wilbur, Nebraska. When some friends tell Sydney's close friend Brooklyn McChrystal that she hasn't shown up for work, Brooklyn tries texting and calling her. After she doesn't get a response, Brooklyn texts Sydney's sister, who sends her the Tinder photo of Sydney's date Audrey, and she starts her own investigation. Brooklyn creates her own Tinder page with similar settings in an attempt to find Audrey. She keeps swiping until she finds the photo. She swipes right and gets a response the following day. Brooklyn starts messaging Audrey, and after they are communicating for a while, she eventually gets the woman's phone number. She shares it with Sydney's family, who forwards it to the police. Sydney's family doesn't know what to do, so they go to Lincoln to look for her the next morning. They check Sydney's apartment and find things out of the ordinary. Her makeup bag, which she carries everywhere, is there, and her glasses are inside her bag. Sydney wears contacts, so if she was going to be gone for an extended period of time, she would have taken her glasses with her. They know something is terribly wrong when they find out that Sydney's cat, Mimsy, is there, without food or water. She loves her cat and wouldn't have left her like that. The same day, another ping of Sydney's phone reveals that it hasn't been powered on. Investigators contact Sydney's bank, and advised that there hasn't been any activity for 2 days. Police call the number Sydney's friend provided and leave a message to Audrey, who calls back. Audrey admits she met Sydney on a dating app and picked her up at her apartment at 7 p.m. She tells them they drove around, listened to music, talked and smoked marijuana before she dropped off Sydney at a friend's house. She identifies herself as Audrey Kane, but doesn't give out other basic details. Although Audrey has a fake phone number provided by an app called Pinger, police able to get her username, email, and 3 IP addresses. After cross-referencing the times and dates, they find a number that was used to contact Sydney. Mapping of phone records uncovers that after Sydney was picked up for their date, she and Audrey's phones traveled together to Wilbur, but there are no more records for Sydney's phone after 8 p.m. 2 days later, Aubrey Trail attempts to call Lincoln Police Department, but asks for the wrong officer. Investigators later listened to the messages in which Aubrey Trail said officers were looking for his fiancée Bailey Boswell because she was the last person with Sydney Loof. Police now know that Audrey's real name is Bailey Boswell. Police serve a search warrant at the basement apartment Bailey Boswell shares with Aubrey Trail. By the time police arrive, they aren't there anymore. The landlord tells investigators that there was a strong odor of bleach coming from the apartment the day following Sydney's Tinder date. The smell was so strong in the garage and throughout the entire home, she had to open all her windows and doors and step outside to get fresh air. Authorities for several agencies actively began to search for Bailey and Aubrey, who are on the run. Meanwhile, Cindy's family desperately searching for her. They place a rotating ad on the billboard near I-80, and in addition to the billboard, the family is asking for people to share their social media posts. They're also accepting volunteers to help spread the word with posters and driving the interstates, flooding public places with posters of her face. On November 28, nearly 2 weeks after Sydney's disappearance, Lincoln Police identifies Bailey Boswell and Aubrey Trail as persons of interest in the case. The next day, while on the run, the pair posts a video to the Finding Sydney Loof Facebook page about their side of the story, under the name Aubrey Bailey Trail. The video is deleted a few hours after it is posted, and the account appears to be deactivated some time after that.
Good morning, Lincoln and Omaha and probably several other places. This is Aubrey Trail and this is Bailey Boswell. I guess y'all also know her as Audrey. But we've spent the last few days watching ourselves being slammed and crucified in the newspapers and the news and everything else, so we thought it was time we had our say. We're not trying to defend anything. We're not trying to make you believe anything. We just feel we should get to say our side since everyone else gets to say theirs. Unlike the Lincoln Police Department and Saline County Police Department and all those folks, everything we're going to tell you, you're going to be able to pick up the phone or have a newspaper pick up the phone and very easily verify it. I am going to talk for a minute, then Bailey here is going to tell you about her 2 dates with Sydney, and we'll go from there. The Lincoln Police Department apparently wants everyone to believe that we're hiding, that we haven't talked to them, that we're avoiding them. Actually, we've spoken to the Lincoln Police Department a couple of times. We also, through my attorney, Doug Mertz in Falls City, Nebraska, please verify, we both wrote long statements and sent to the Lincoln Police Department telling them everything we know. We also, the day before Thanksgiving, which would be the 22nd, we repeatedly called the Lincoln Police Department when they were trying to contact us. After about 10 phone calls, please have a newspaper, ask for they record everything. We were told to quit blowing up their phone, even though we told them, hey, do you understand that we're the people you're looking for? They said, you've called here several times. We will get back to you when we can. So that's how that went. They're telling you that they have all these leads, that Sydney was last seen in Wilbur and such. What they're not telling you is that we are the two people who gave them all these leads. I called the Falls City Police Department because they went to my ex's house and looking for me, so I called to find out what was going on. Apparently, they did not know my address in Wilbur. They thought I still lived in Falls City. I talked to the sergeant there. I told him what my address was in Wilbur. That night, they went to my house and searched our house. We found out that on the 21st, I think it was, or the 20th, the county attorney in Wilbur, Saline County, filed a warrant against me for possession of a firearm, which is insane. I have never owned a firearm in 20 years. The next day, according to the papers, the warrant was withdrawn, but the Lincoln paper is not telling you that the warrant was withdrawn because there was no firearm in my house. But they will have you believe that. Several other things. I guess the FBI and the U.S. Marshals and all that good stuff, and a lot of other people with a lot of initials that I have no idea what means is investigating, looking for us or whatever. We were at our house 4 days ago. No one showed up. We were in Wilbur. We've been to Wilbur twice. We have a young lady with us for a week, which is Bailey's sometimes girlfriend. The Omaha police started calling her phone, telling her pretty much that she's in danger with us. So we took her home the day before Thanksgiving. She was with us when Bailey and I were trying to call the Lincoln Police Department. She can verify this if you want her name. I guess friend us in messages on Facebook, because as we know stuff, you will know stuff, because we're not cutting, editing, or anything. If we make a slip on this video and say something that you find incriminating, please let us know. And you've already crucified us in the newspapers. You've already crucified us on Facebook. In America, I sure thought it was a trial first, but I guess not. You've heard all of this stuff about my criminal history. All true. Been convicted of bad checks and forgery and all that good stuff, but never been convicted of anything like, I guess I'm a person of interest on now. And oh yeah, the Lincoln Police Department failed to tell you that me and Bailey do about $100,000 a year business in antiques on eBay, the antique malls in Lincoln, Omaha, all this stuff. They will have you believe that I'm still just a criminal running around. But I don't really need to explain all of that, because as far as I know, I'm not wanted for anything. I'm a person of interest, and I'm not really running from anything. I mean, naturally, I can't go home now because my house has been swarmed, searched, and I'm being looked for. But, and I assume that I have a warrant out of state somewhere now, so that kind of cancels that out. So this has pretty much cost me my life, and I appreciate that from the Lincoln Police Department and the FBI and all those other agencies. But I pray for Sydney. I hope she's found soon. I wish the family the best. I'm sorry that she wasn't with you on Thanksgiving. And that's pretty much all I can say for now. Here's Bailey to tell you whatever she wants to. I'm fixing to step aside and get out of this. Thank you for listening.
Hi, good morning. I'm Bailey, Audrey on Tinder, and a few other names because I have warrants, but this really isn't about me. This is about Sydney, and I'm just kind of want to tell you what I've already told the Lincoln police more than one time. I met her on a Tuesday. We drove around Lincoln, smoked weed, had a great time. We hit it off. I dropped her off at home, picked her up the next night at her house. We drove around, smoked weed again, made our way to my house where we smoked wax and shatter, and I gave her a 1/4 ounce of some really good weed. I went to take her home, and she asked me to drop her off at a friend's house, so I did so. I gave her my number. We were planning to go to the casino that weekend. I haven't heard from her since. I really don't even know what else to say. I've been seeing all this stuff on the news presses and the magazines and the news, and I guess I just want the family to know that I'm truly sorry and I didn't have anything to do with this, and I hope that Sydney is found very soon. She is a sweet, amazing girl. I don't know. Babe, do you have anything else to say?
I hope also that Sydney's found soon. We wish the family the best. We're sorry you're going through this. As far as all this stuff that the police department is putting in the papers, putting on the news, what they're feeding to the media, what they want the media to know, there's nothing I can do about that. There's nothing she can do about that, because the police department is going to do what suits them best. Yeah, I know that's coming from a criminal, so, you'll believe what you will as far as the police department is concerned. But as far as I'm concerned, what they're chasing us around like dogs, I wish the family the best. No disrespect to anyone. I wish Sydney the best. But as far as the police department, you.
Yeah.
The same day, 2 other videos are posted late at night, one of Aubrey and the other of Bailey. The videos are posted on a Facebook page titled Bailey Boswell, but also disappear shortly after that.
Hi folks, Aubrey Trail here. A few little things I want to talk about. I've been watching all day. I just watched the news, that's why I'm making this. First thing I want to clarify is the news just reported that our contact with the police in Lincoln never took place. Well, let me assure you that it did. Bailey spoke with investigator Cleveland twice. I called on the 22nd. I called the investigator's phone and left messages about 4 times. I called the Lincoln Police Department, the dispatchers, about 8 times. As far as this is not on record, I guarantee you it's on record. It's on Bailey's Tinder phone. It'll be on their phones. I know for a fact she spoke with them twice, at least. I never talked to Saline County Police Department. Never said I did. I spoke with the sergeant at the Falls City, which is Richardson County Police Department, because they went to my ex-wife's house asking for me. So I called them and I informed them where I now live. So if we're going to talk, let's try to get it straight. The police can say or do what they want, as I can, so you'll believe what you believe. But I've been watching a lot of posts and comments today. So far today, from the comments, we have apparently murdered this lady. We have apparently put her into human trafficking and sold her. And not only did we do that, we used the money. We went to the casino that weekend and used the money that we sold her for. Bailey didn't drop her at a friend's house. She dropped her off at her drug dealer's house, Bailey's, according to the comments you guys are making. Oh yeah, and don't forget the one that I was in Falls City. I lived in Falls City for a long time. So I have some connection to the Rouleau cult because people heard all about that. And just out of curiosity, is it me, or I guess it's just me and, my criminal mind, how that works? The post we made this morning was deleted from the family's Facebook. Totally understandable. My whole Facebook and Bailey's whole Facebook page was deleted. The video was taken off by the feds or whoever took it off. Just curious, are we not allowed to tell our side of this? Attorneys that we didn't cooperate with the officers in Lincoln. My attorney is Doug Mertz, M-E-R-Z, Falls City, Nebraska. He is not only my attorney, he is the county attorney there. Feel free to contact him. He is the one who represents me in pretty much everything when I need representation. I send him mine and Bailey's statement. By now, the Lincoln Police Department should have those statements. Bailey, like I said, talked to Officer Cleveland twice, told him pretty much everything that we have told you today on the video. Someone also made the comment that Bailey said Sydney was this and was that. Folks, go back and review the video. It can't be changed. It can't be edited. It's already posted. All of the stuff that you're saying was said. It's not been said. Maybe we didn't watch the same video. Maybe you didn't watch the video we made. But a lot of the stuff you're saying that was said is nowhere in that video. Someone posted that I said that Sydney was with us for a week, but Bailey said that she dropped her off at her friends. Watch the video. That girl's name was Katie that was with us for a week. The Omaha Police Department started questioning about her, saying she was in deep trouble because she was with us, so we took her home on the 22nd. The 22nd is the day that we blew up the Lincoln Police Department's phone, trying to get someone to talk to us. 3 minutes turned into 3 hours that they were supposed to call us back. And of course, again, I'm just a criminal, so you're going to believe none of this, and I guess it's really irrelevant because we've pretty much decided to turn ourselves in and see where this goes. Because now we're seeing on the news the people of Wilbur are terrified because I guess we're guilty by association, which is fine because I've never made an excuse for anything I've done in my life. I do what I do, be it if I'm a thief, I'm a thief, but I'd be goddamned I've never killed anyone in my life. I've never hurt a female in my life. So take that for whatever the hell it's worth. But listen to some of your comments. Listen to what you're saying. Just sit back and read what you're writing. You've got us, you know nothing about us except that I have a criminal history. You use me saying that Bailey and I make a lot of money on antiques as me bragging. I was simply saying it to show you that I'm no longer with the criminal activity and I run a legitimate business now. Yes, I have warrants, but I've had warrants for years. I've got a warrant in Minnesota that's been there for 12 years. The pistol, let's address that so it doesn't look like I was lying. Read the Omaha World Herald ad of, I think it was 3 days ago. It plainly states in there that a warrant was issued because of a firearm found and that the warrant was withdrawn on the 22nd. That's where I got that information, but God forbid I listen to newspapers, I guess, but it seems everyone else does. I don't know what else to say. I guess you'll find out what you find out at the press conference tomorrow. But naturally, someone commented that we weren't being crucified in the paper, but we would be now, that this has not helped our cause at all. And you may be right. But we don't have a lot to hide. I mean, transparency, we don't have much to tell. Someone wanted to know what friend Bailey dropped Sydney off with. Bailey knew Sydney for 2 days. How the hell does she know? Now she's now she's stoned on drugs, out of her mind. What is she doing messing with a 51-year-old man? Does that really have any relevance of this? And oh yeah, thanks for the comment about I'm not very intelligent and I'm stupid and all this. Appreciate that. But your opinion is your opinion. You know, think what you want, do what you want. The officers in this investigation have the people of Wilbur scared to death. They don't understand. They didn't know that people like us were living next to them. What the hell is people like us? People with criminal histories? Did you check my criminal history? Forgery, bad checks, theft. That's it. I mean, not saying I'm a nice guy. I'm a crook. I'm a thief. Have been all my life. Okay? But I'm not what you're trying to make me out to be. And the last thing, I guess, is you were uncertain as to whether or not it was me and Bailey in the video, it was absolutely us. And she's going to show you some of her tattoos so you know it's her. And someone said her hair is a different color. So what? You know, big deal. And someone said no lawyer out there would say don't turn yourself in. Actually, all the lawyers say don't turn yourself in, don't talk to the police, don't do this, don't do that. But we've pretty much decided to turn ourselves in because we've pretty much been convicted anyway. And if we keep running, I guess maybe it's going to look bad for you. But hey, we don't want to go to jail. I sure as hell don't want to go to jail on some trumped up gun charge, but it looks like that's what's going to happen. But I'll be goddamned if I'm going to stand here and be accused of doing something to someone you pretty much blatantly said that we murdered this girl. You blatantly said that we've sold her into some kind of trafficking. This is it's ridiculous. It's ludicrous.
Hi, this is Bailey. There was some confusion on whether or not it was us, so I'm showing you my tattoos to prove that it's us. I'm not trying to hide that. I pretty much agree with everything that Aubrey said. I wanted to say it myself, but he wouldn't let me because I probably wouldn't have been so nice about it. But I do want to add one thing. That guy that lives across from us that supposedly said her phone was buried deep in our backyard. I like that. That's funny.
The next morning, FBI announced the couple has been located somewhere in the Midwest. Later that day, Aubrey and Bailey are taken into custody in Branson on unrelated warrants, but it is not clear if the videos they posted led to their arrest or not. Police discover that on the day Sydney went missing, Aubrey and Bailey were in a Home Depot in Lincoln around 10:35 a.m. for 12 minutes. They were buying tools and supplies, including a hacksaw, 2 gallons of Clorox bleach, a folding tree saw, 30-gallon plastic trash bags, and a razor-sharp utility knife. All of which can be seen on the surveillance video. Also on the day Sydney went missing, while she was working her shift before her date, Aubrey went to the Menards, which was recorded by the surveillance cameras, apparently to check her out. They cross paths. Sydney glances at him. Aubrey looks back over his shoulder at Sydney, purchases items from the store and leaves. From his first arrest to being charged with murder, Aubrey talks to investigators 12 times. Aubrey is first interviewed on November 30th, right after he and Bailey are arrested in Branson, Missouri. He maintains his and Bailey's innocence until December 4th, when police find parts of Sydney's body in a rural area. Her body had been dismembered, wrapped tightly in black plastic trash bags, and scattered around country roads. It is heartbreaking that police only can identify her by the tattoo on her arm, which reads "Everything will be wonderful someday." Police show Aubrey a photo of Sydney's severed arm, and he begins to give information about her death. Police find more body parts on December 5th, and Aubrey continues to speak. He doesn't give many details, but explains Bailey wasn't involved in Sydney's death. According to him, Bailey only played role in cleaning up after she was killed and disposing of her body. 3 months after his arrest, he is saying what happened was an accident. He says he paid Sydney to fulfill a sex fantasy with 2 other women. Quote, "There was strangulation involved. It wasn't supposed to go as far as it did, but it did." He acknowledges that Sydney died of erotic asphyxiation during rough sex, admitting to strangling her using an electrical cord at their Wilbur apartment. He claims the crime wasn't premeditated, he bought the supplies for his antiques. He dismembered her out of panic to conceal the crime. Quote, "There was no way I could get her out into a vehicle without everyone seeing." He later changes his story and tells police it was a ritual, in line with his religious beliefs. He claims he is the leader of a sex cult. Aubrey says they had to cut her up and drain her blood to release her soul to the gods in a sacred spot. Bailey has not made any statements to investigators, but her phone did ping near where Sydney's body was disposed on November 16th. Aubrey Trail and Bailey Boswell are charged with first-degree murder in the death of 24-year-old Sydney Loof in June of 2018. He appears in court in a wheelchair throughout his trial because, as his defense attorneys say, he's suffered a couple of strokes and heart attacks since his arrest. If the story wouldn't be bizarre enough, on the second day of his trial, Aubrey yells, quote, "Bailey is innocent, and I curse you all," before slashing his own neck in the courtroom. Deputies rush to help as he lays bleeding on the floor. He is escorted to the hospital, but his injuries are not serious, so with several stitches, he is released from hospital the same day. One of the most mind-blowing part of the trial are the testimonies of 3 of Aubrey's so-called girls. All 3 speak of meeting Bailey on Tinder and learning she was in an open relationship with Aubrey. Aubrey told the woman he was a vampire and required his witches to call him daddy. He also said he could fly and read minds. One of the girls says she was manipulated into thinking the only way she could fully become a witch was to kill someone, and she would gain some mystical powers, which she believed. She also says she was required to contact Aubrey every 3 hours and tell him where she was, and that she and Bailey weren't allowed to wear clothes inside the apartment. If she didn't comply, she was punished. Once Aubrey punished her by putting a belt around her neck and choking her. Another time, he slapped her in the head more than 10 times. She testifies, Aubrey and Bailey brought up killing and torturing people often. Aubrey appears first at court after his hospitalization, when takes the stand to testify. He says in his testimony that most of his initial story was false, claiming he and Bailey met Sydney in March 2017 and paid her to be part of his illegal activity because she needed money. Aubrey claims Sydney left them for a while, but in November 2017, Bailey wanted to restart a relationship and Sydney needed money. That's why he says he was at Menards. He says he offered Sydney $5,000 to be part of his antique theft ring, and the 3 ended up in sex acts involving choking when she died accidentally. He pleaded guilty to improper disposal of human remains, but not the charges of conspiracy to commit murder and first-degree murder. Aubrey Trail was found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to death. He was also found guilty of a second count of criminal conspiracy to commit murder. He showed no remorse or any emotion as the verdicts were read. Bailey Boswell was also found guilty of first-degree murder and will find out on November 8, 2021, whether she will be sentenced to death for the killing. During a 3-day hearing in late June and early July, she pleaded for her own life and apologized to the Loof family. Her mother in defense also claimed that Bailey did not deserve to die and was the victim of Aubrey Trail's abuse.